Matchup tonight, the number 11 seed Seton Hall taking on the number 6 seed Marquette for the right to advance to the quarterfinals tomorrow and a date with Notre Dame. Already today, Villanova by 19 over Syracuse. They get Georgetown tomorrow. West Virginia by 5 over Providence. They get UConn tomorrow. Pittsburgh just outlasted Cincinnati to advance to play Louisville tomorrow. Now it is Marquette and Seton Hall. Hi again, everybody. Dan Shulman, Len Elmore back with you. This is a Marquette team of which big things were expected this year. A lot of experience. You know about those 3 perimeter players. They are juniors now. They're coming off kind of a lackluster defeat against Syracuse on the weekend. They got to turn it around, get some momentum going into the NCAA tournament.
Well, lackluster is an appropriate term. This team just seemed indifferent in the second half against Syracuse, but they're playing for NCAA seeding. You know, you don't want to drop too far and wind up having a tough road ahead of them. They've got to get back their edge, the edge that allowed them to win 7 games in conference play.
Now, they met and defeated Seton Hall twice this season. One was close, one not. Seton Hall, though, they like to press and trap, force turnovers. They turn the game into a little bit of organized chaos out there.
Well, of those 11 Marquette wins, 2 against Seton Hall, and it's not easy to beat a team 3 times in one season. Yeah, you can call them marauding pirates because they use a variety of pressure schemes to disrupt opponents, and they've got some guys who can knock down the 3, which is the great neutralizer.
Let's check out the Star Watch for this game between the Pirates and the Golden Eagles. And for Seton Hall, we've got a first-team All-Big East performer, Len, in Brian Lang.
Well, Brian Lang is an explosive scorer. He's averaged 15 points and 5 rebounds in the 2 games against Marquette. And Dominique James shaking the nagging injuries that bothered him all season, but he needs to play solid at the point guard, avoid the turnovers, and get his team back in gear.
Tonight's starting lineups are brought to you by Aeropostale, and we begin with Seton Hall. In the backcourt, it'll be Jamar Nutter, Jeremy Hazel, a big-time scoring freshman, along with Eugene Harvey. The point guard up front, Brian Lang, along with a big power guy on the inside, John Garcia. For Marquette, the experience, the talent, the backcourt, you know about James, McNeil, and Matthews. These guys have been starting just about every game for the last 3 years. Up front, one of the most improved players in the conference this year, Lazar Hayward, along with Ousmane Barrow. Tonight's game between Seton Hall and Marquette is also available in high definition on ESPN HD, brought to you by Olivia. Well, let's look back at what happened, or what has happened, between these 2 teams already this year. As Len mentioned, Marquette has defeated Seton Hall twice already this year. The first one by 5. Dan Fitzgerald knocked down some big threes. The second one was a blowout, a 25-point win, with Lazar Hayward having a big game. One common denominator between the 2 games, a little trouble involving Jamar Nutter of the Pirates. In the first game, Dominique James blocked the shot of Nutter. Then on the ensuing inbounds play, a steal. James going in for the layup. A hard foul by Nutter, called an intentional foul. James suffered a wrist injury that plagued him for many, many weeks, and he's really just now getting back to be close to 100%. Now, a few weeks later in the rematch in Seton Hall, watch James try to defend Nutter, and Nutter throws an elbow up near the throat of Dominique James. A flagrant foul. Nutter ejected from the game. Don't think Marquette isn't thinking about that. Don't think Dominique James isn't thinking about that as they take the court here tonight.
Well, it's not about whether you're going to get retribution or not. It's about how you do it. And certainly these guys need to focus on playing the game. Dominique James can get an awful lot of revenge by going out there and playing a flawless floor game, avoiding turnovers and getting his guys involved.
James, the junior out of Richmond, Indiana, second-team All-Big East, tested the waters, thought about the NBA after last year. This year, again, because of the wrist injury and an ankle problem, maybe has not had quite the season that he would have liked. But this is a Marquette team, Len, as you well know. If they're on, if their shots are falling, this is a team that can hang with anybody in the country if they're playing well.
Well, they certainly can. And again, it comes down to those 3 guards, the defense that they play, their versatility. I mean, 10 steals a game, leading the Big East as well as being 4th in the nation. So they really create some havoc out there on the perimeter and make it difficult to get the ball inside. That's why I say that Syracuse game was so out of character for Marquette, because they are always digging and hustling and finding ways to separate their opponents from the ball.
Marquette 22-8, 11-7 in the conference. Seton Hall 17-14, 7-11 in the Big East play. And a zone look from Seton Hall.
Talked about it at the beginning of the telecast. Seton Hall will apply a variety of defenses, a variety of pressure schemes. He's trying to disrupt the other guy.
A 1-2-2 or a 3-2 if you prefer. And Hazel, a long-arm 6'5" defender up at the top of the zone. Marquette goes inside in the bucket for Hayward.
And that's something that against the Syracuse 2-3 zone last Saturday, that Marquette seemed to hesitate at getting the ball inside. Because that's how you attack the zone. Go from the inside out.
Hayward, a sophomore out of Buffalo, who's scoring and rebounding both about double what they were during his freshman season. Garcia follows his miss at a fresh 35. Lang off the glass, too strong. Marquette ball. Good pressure and a turnover. Harvey comes up with a steal. And that'll be a common theme tonight. These two teams are 1-2 in the league in steals.
Again, it wasn't really a pressure scheme. It was a straight man-to-man. You've got to, if you're Marquette, you've got to avoid those turnovers, giving Seton Hall extra opportunities. They've got guys who can knock it down from the perimeter. They've got Brian Lang, who's adept at getting into the paint.
Bobby Gonzalez, the head coach of Seton Hall, his second year there, 30 wins, 30 losses. As energetic, as intense as any coach you will see on the sideline. Nutter misses the three, and the rebound to Hayward.
Well, Bobby borders on the frenetic when he gets into this game, but players like to see an energetic coach.
Around and out, Hayward the miss, the follow by McNeil. Garcia the rebound. Gonzalez actually reprimanded, has been or will be reprimanded by Big East Commissioner Mike Tranghese based on the commissioner's comments last night. More on that later tonight. The situation developing in the Seton Hall-Rutgers game. Fred Hill also may spend a little time with the Mike Tranghese as Dominique James knocks down the jumper from the corner.
A nice inside-out play by Marquette. Focused on getting it in and contracting that zone and being able to hit the spot-up shooter.
James, the guy, Tom Crean is more than happy with him taking the open shot as Garcia gets the nice feed inside and lays it in for the Pirates' first points.
John Garcia is a load inside.
Just committed a foul as McNeil lays it in. Jarrell McNeil, last year's Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East, but pretty talented at the other end as well. Tom Crean, 9th season as head coach at Marquette, the Final Four back in 2003, the Dwayne Wade team, and consistently they are among the top teams in the Big East Conference. Good numbers for McNeil in all departments. James, McNeil, and Wesley Matthews, the third member of that backcourt. Their games, Len, really complement each other nicely.
Yeah, they've played together the way that you get three guards and you know you're undersized the way you have to. You know, they step up, they help, they trap. One of the best strip steal teams in the nation, if not the best.
It'll rattle in from Mike Davis, a 6'11" freshman out of Brooklyn, getting some early time after Garcia goes to the bench.
Well, after Seton Hall allowed their guards to get a feel for the game, maybe put up some shots, now they're going to what should be their strength, size inside. So Garcia with the layup. Right there you see Davis with the turnaround. Put a lot of pressure. Marquette undersized. We talked about them playing three guards.
James again.
Nice job by Davis to step out, put a hand in James's face.
And as I started to say before, Tom Crean says if the shots are open, he's more than happy for Dominique James to take them. He's a good catch and shoot guy. The contested shot a little bit tougher for James, as it is for many people. And James's greatest attribute still is being able to get inside, use his quickness and get inside and dish off to his teammates.
Well, that time you saw a turnover by Eugene Harvey, pass too high, and Harvey's got to be careful. He's been turnover prone of late.
They need him to play more the way he did last year as a freshman. Three-pointer missed by James and a run out for Seton Hall. Hazel the pull-up.
Well, Hazel, a terrific three-point shooter, but he was a step inside the line, so that accounts for him missing by so much.
Matthews, no. Follow, no. And it is out of bounds to Marquette. And you can already see Bobby Gonzalez working up a lather over on the Seton Hall sideline.
Look at the drive right there, and it's really just a nice job of coming over to help. Just luckily got a hand on that attempt to put back.
Mike Davis again. He's had 2 good plays entering the game earlier than he normally does. Garcia to the bench after his first foul. Good position inside. Matthews posting up. And a block again by Davis. In transition. Nutter. Oh, and Davis had his hands on the rim. And the Marquette bench wasn't very happy about that. McNeil with an air ball on the 3. Hayward in the paint. Jump hook. Back rim. And a foul over the back. Well, we told you it might be a little chaotic out there the way these 2 teams play. The bucket for Seton Hall. Davis's hands on the rim. Not a problem.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Aeropostale. Make it happen. And in part by Subway. Subway celebrates Jared's 10th anniversary of losing 245 pounds. Subway, eat fresh. And Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest.
Back here in a busy, as always, New York City. Marquette leading Seton Hall 8-6. We're at Madison Square Garden for the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale, and a couple of tough losses for Seton Hall this month. March the 1st, Anthony Mason Jr.'s 3 with less than 2 seconds to go. Gives St. John's a 3-point win over Seton Hall on Sunday. J.R. Inman, watch this, a running 3 at the buzzer in the final regular season game for both teams. Rutgers 64, Seton Hall 61. And in the aftermath of this game, this is where some of the trouble started for Bobby Gonzalez. He was critical of an official. He received a technical earlier in the game, as did Fred Hill. Mike Tranghese, the commissioner of the Big East, without naming names, talked about the coaches in the game yesterday, referring to Hill and Gonzalez and how their conduct was not something that Mike Tranghese was very pleased with. They were both very emotional. They were both out of the coach's box. It was a very terse and tense handshake between the two after the game. Commissioner Tranghese went out of his way to say the players behaved very well, but it sounds like that both coaches may be reprimanded or maybe already have by the commissioner of the Big East.
Both guys may be feeling the squeeze. Obviously, an interstate rivalry with a lot of recruits at stake, possibly. And Bobby Gonzalez particularly, that's the 3rd game in a 3-game losing streak, 2 of 8 over the last 10. And several of those, 3 of those games by 3 points or less, so he's feeling it.
Well, you got to love the ball movement by the Pirates last time down the floor. Lang winds up with the dunk, and they've tied it at 8. And another block inside. The ball's going to stay at this end of the floor. Is that Davis again?
Well, Davis using his length to bother folks. And you take a look again, excellent ball movement, skip pass cross court, catches the defense in rotation, and again finding guys on the baseline. But I was going to say Marquette has kind of put themselves in this position. Now you hear the crowd starting to get into the ball game. This is the team that could have solidified the 5th seed and avoided playing a Seton Hall team that this could be a home game for them.
Lang picked up the last block. Lang also called for that foul on the bucket by Wesley Matthews, who Tom Green says doesn't get enough attention for how important a player he is to this team. You hear a lot about Dominique James. Probably the next player you hear about is Jarrell McNeil, but Wesley Matthews is one of those guys who contributes in so many different areas for Marquette.
Well, that was his first miss from the free throw line in his last 11 attempts. And, you know, he's the biggest of the 3 guards. He's called upon sometimes to play guys much bigger than him. One needs to rebound. He's doing an awful lot for this team at his size.
Dan Fitzgerald into the game now for Marquette, a guy who scored 40 points in 2 Big East tournament games last year. This year averaging just over 4 points per game, but he can get hot from the outside. Davis loses the handle. McNeil comes up with it. McNeil's going to try to go all the way, a little strong off the glass. Seton Hall loves to run, and Hazel is fouled and finishes.
And again, go back to listen to this crowd start to get in the game and get behind the blue. And just a nice job right here of transition, pushing it out front. And Fitzgerald, if you're going to foul, you can't let the guy get the ball up to the basket when you have a run and start like that. But Marquette already back on their heels right now. As Seton Hall deciding they're going to make this a running ball game. Not that Marquette can't play it, but I'm not sure mentally they're into it at this point in time.
You saw the numbers for Hazel, about 13 points per game, a member of the Big East All-Rookie team. Comes up with a steal, misses the tough layup, and now Dwight Burke rips it out of there. He is checked in for Marquette, and Augustin Okeson is on the floor, a 6'11" junior college transfer from Nigeria. He's the third different big man of the game already for the Pirates.
Seton Hall again forcing Marquette to take those long perimeter shots.
Nice pass. Okeson got it.
And on the other end, executing well, using their size advantage.
And forcing another turnover left.
Well, we said before, Dominic James has to avoid the turnovers. He's averaged almost 5 turnovers a game over the last 5. Nice little wraparound pass, putting the big man in a position where he can succeed. And Eugene Harvey, we talked about his penchant for turning it over, 24 over the last 4 games coming into this one. But when he can do things to make his big, long, but somewhat unskilled big men successful, that's worth the price of having him out there playing point guard.
Larry Davison now for Seton Hall. 6 different Pirates have already scored tonight. It'll stay here at this end. Marquette, that's one of their plays, that reach around. Both teams actually fond of it, reaching around and trying to knock the ball free. Again, these teams are 1-2 in the conference in steals, and number 3 is way back. It's not even close.
And they like to wrap around, but they also like to try to get you before you get the ball up and strip it. Missed that one.
I'll tell you, Seton Hall is playing with some energy and some desire early here tonight.
And as I said, they got the crowd behind them. And Marquette ultimately has a difficult time or goes down here knowing that emotion plays a big part. They've only got themselves to blame that they're playing a local team, and they could have avoided it.
Maurice Acker into the point for Dominique James. Jarrell McNeil for 3.
Talk about important guys. Wesley Matthews on one end, but Jarrell McNeil has probably been the most reliable scorer for this team. 23 of 30 games in double figures. And you think of him as a defender, but he's been very consistent on the offensive end.
Actually, their leading scorer just ahead of James. Well, if you had said Bobby Gonzalez, you'd get a couple of quick field goals from Augustin Okeson. He might have raised an eyebrow at you, but that's what they've got.
Okeson plays 10 minutes a game on average, averages about 2 points and 2 rebounds. He's already doubled his output.
Seton Hall in a 2-3. Acker finds McNeil in the paint. Diving to keep it alive. Loose ball into the hands of Bobby Gonzalez. It'll be Marquette's ball, but Coach Gonzalez has to love the way Seton Hall then is playing early.
Well, he certainly does. They're playing with some verve and some fire.
And the big guy off the bench, Okeson, with 2 big field goals. Seton Hall's got the early lead.
ESPN Films presents Black Magic. Before he was leading the New York Knicks to a pair of NBA championships, Willis Reed averaged 27 points and 21 rebounds in his last season at Grambling State University.
You drive the ball to the basket, and Willis would just stay back there and make sure that you landed up in the bleachers. That eliminated any drive into the basket for the rest of the night.
Black Magic debuts March 16th at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
And Black Magic tells the story of the injustice which characterized the civil rights movement in America, as told through the lives of basketball players and coaches who attended historically black colleges and universities. Black Magic, presented by Russell and State Farm on ESPN Sunday at 9.
Oh, you saw a look at Willis Reed's number, retired here in the rafters of Madison Square Garden. And from humble beginnings in Louisiana to the captain of the world champion New York Knicks.
A block by Okeson. Boy, Mike Davis and Augustin Okeson have come in off the bench in the middle and have keyed this Seton Hall run early. Tom Crean responds with a 2-point guard look. Acker and James together. Perhaps wanted to get as much ball handling as possible against the ball-hawking Seton Hall Pirates. Jumper missed.
Look at this fight for the offensive board, too. They're not giving up. You know, after establishing their big men, Seton Hall a little more comfortable taking some outside shots, but their big men remain relentless on the offensive glass, just getting a hand on it and keeping it alive. Can't corral it, tip it up, keep it alive. Maybe somebody else can go after it.
Lawrence Blackledge into the game for the first time for Marquette. Seton Hall coming out of the chute with great energy and fire here tonight. Long shot missed by Nutter. Numbers for Marquette. Out of bounds to Seton Hall. Artistically, it would have been beautiful, but there might have been an easier play there for the Golden Eagles.
And again, tremendous effort by the defense. Ryan Lang hits the deck. But seeing the alley-oop, a lot of people will just sit there and watch it go up and come down. But there it was contested. And Lang takes the fall, but he went out there and wound up breaking it up. Again, tremendous effort. This is a leading scorer. First team all-conference with that kind of hustle.
Seton Hall up 3 on Marquette early. The number 6 seed Marquette against the number 11 seed Seton Hall. They were the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale at Madison Square Garden in New York City. The winner will advance to play Notre Dame tomorrow night in a quarterfinal. Marquette trying to get some momentum back after a sluggish loss to Syracuse over the weekend and perhaps improve its NCAA seeding. And if they can get hot, hey, maybe go on and win a conference championship as well. Seton Hall obviously needs to go the distance if they're going to play in the NCAA, but a good showing here. Maybe they'll improve their chances for an NIT bid. James with a reverse and one.
Well, I think the Marquette faithful is saying it's about time we could talk about the Marquette transition. And they are so sharp here. A nice deflection and a steal. And then to push up the floor. You know, you want to see some quickness getting out and running, and you're looking at it right here. Just beats everybody down, and James with the reverse layup avoids the block and draws the contact.
And completes the three-point play to tie it at 16.
I don't think Tom Crean has to worry about his team's effort today. Doesn't have to worry about their mental state. But I mentioned it before, it's very difficult to beat a team 3 times in one season. Teams adjust, teams get confidence. Seton Hall after a close loss and then a blowout loss to Marquette probably feels they know Marquette as well as anyone.
Lang with a turnaround. Rebound McNeil. Nice crossover, and he's fouled by Harvey. ESPN's coverage of college basketball's championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods continues tomorrow with quarterfinal action for the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. It'll be Villanova and Georgetown in one quarterfinal at noon, and then at 2 o'clock Eastern, West Virginia and Connecticut. Villanova beats Syracuse today, West Virginia over Providence. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. When you think Villanova-Georgetown, 2 things come to mind right away. One is the 1985 National Championship game, and the other is that controversial foul call earlier this year. Jonathan Wallace makes the free throws. Georgetown wins the game, one of 2 crushing defeats for Villanova this season. But they played well. They were down early, decisively, to Syracuse today and came back and played a great second half.
Well, they're a team that seems to be on a mission right now, and you talk about that controversial call with Georgetown, and who's telling you there's no poetic justice out here? You know, they're on a collision course to replay that game. And I'm sure that Jay Wright has used that as motivation probably in this game. You want a shot at Georgetown again? Let's get past this one.
One would assume that Syracuse's bubble officially burst with that loss to Villanova earlier today. West Virginia couldn't get away from Providence really until the final seconds of the game. And they will play UConn tomorrow, a very dangerous Connecticut team that is playing as well as anybody in the conference.
Well, Marquette coaching staff has to be a little concerned right now. They're not getting the easy opportunities and capitalizing on them. When you get to the free throw line, you got to knock them down. Every point's going to count against a team like Seton Hall that's just playing with reckless abandon and no fear.
Harvey, and count the bucket. It'll be a goaltend on Blackledge.
And when you got guys, big guys, particularly on the opposing team, throwing their bodies around, diving on the floor, you got to take a second look and say these guys are committed.
This is a Seton Hall team, Len, that beat Louisville by 10 points in February, but then just a few days ago lost on Senior Day to Rutgers, a team that didn't even make the Big East tournament. Now they are out here playing great. Matthews looking for the contact and the foul on Mike Davis. Number 2 on the big fella.
Well, that win was in January. It was January 19. And since then, they obviously lost one of their terrific leaders in Paul Gauze, a guy who was a tremendous defensive player, averaged about 3 steals a game. Lost him to an ACL injury. 15-7 with him, but only 2-7 without him.
If you go back and read through newspaper articles that follow the course of this Seton Hall team from the beginning of the season until now, at about 15-7 and above 500 in the conference several weeks ago, there was at-large talk and bubble talk and that kind of thing about Seton Hall. But losing 7 of their last 9, they had to rally and win a couple just to get here to the conference tournament in New York.
And it just shows you how fragile teams can be. You lose one guy. That's why you look at Pittsburgh and the tremendous job Jamie Dixon did in kind of shoring up the loss of Fields temporarily and Mike Cook for the season.
It was a conference that dealt with a number of serious injuries this year as Okeson is fouled. Providence dealt with injuries. Syracuse dealt with injuries. Pittsburgh, Seton Hall. Louisville, of course. Padgett and Palacios early. Back to the line is Okeson. Probably not a guy that Marquette spent a whole lot of time talking about on the scout.
But he's a big body at 6'11", shown some athleticism. And whenever you're moving the ball and you're getting defenses caught in rotation, there's always that big guy, long guy that you can toss it to. And Okeson's made the most of a couple of handles and shots.
Misses the free throws. We remain tied at 18.
And listen to Seton Hall communicating out there. You like to hear it. And defense, it was Okeson, the anchor of the defense, telling guys to get up, I'm back.
Okeson takes the ball away from Blackledge. The more helter-skelter the game becomes, the more it would seem to favor Seton Hall.
Well, they seem to be only playing at one speed.
Yep.
And that's overdrive.
Harvey with a very tough shot. David Kubian, number 10, into the game for the first time for Marquette. Another block by Okeson, the follow by James, and he's fouled.
Okeson again, the anchor of the defense back there, gets it done against Blackledge, but no help on the loose ball right here. His team's got to get down there and get to the loose ball quicker. And Dominic James beat Hazel. And then he beats Okeson and draws the foul.
Dominic James attacking the rim here tonight. Missed the free throw, knew it, followed it, couldn't get the rebound. And back come the Pirates, down by 2. Lang, a great inside and outside scorer, as versatile a talent as there is in this league.
But he's got one of the best defenders in the Big East on him, Jarrell McNeil, particularly on the perimeter. Lang has more of an advantage if he steps inside a little bit closer to the basket. Oh, man.
Hazel banks in a 3 while he is being fouled. Hayward the foul. Unbelievable. As we watch Hazel knock down this 3. How many teams will the Big East get into the big dance? Len's thoughts when we come back.
You like your TV real? Well, this is reality.
You want reality TV?
Well, here it is.
You want reality TV?
Well, here it is.
You want reality TV?
Well, here it
The Big
is.
East on ESPN. That's where it lives.
Got a good one going here with the Garden as we take a look at the top 9 by RPI in the Big East. This is updated with Syracuse and Villanova's result today, but not whatever their new RPI will be, which we will know tomorrow morning. Are the top 7 down through West Virginia land, are they locks?
Well, I'd certainly say the top 6. In my mind, West Virginia is a lock, particularly after today's win. And you take a look at Syracuse and Villanova, and we talk about RPI, but let's remember RPI is just one of a number of factors. And I just believe that game between Villanova and Syracuse, particularly the way it ended, had it been a closer game, we might be still talking about Syracuse in the mix. But that's one of those games that'll stick in the minds of the tournament selection committee when they look at competitiveness and say, man, you needed to get in here and you weren't competitive against another team that needs to get in there.
And you make a point that can't be stated often enough. RPI is an easy thing to latch onto because it's a way of ordering teams, but it's just one of many ways of measuring a team. Strength of schedule. Did you win on the road? Did you play people outside your conference? Play some tough people. How did you finish down the stretch? If you struggled, were you injured then, and are you healthy now? There are so many things. And at the end of the day, you can crunch the numbers all you want, but there is somewhat of a subjective element, too, at the end of the day, if you're trying to split hairs between a couple of teams who are very close.
Oh, absolutely. That's why the people who are on the tournament selection committee are there, because of their experience in the game. So, therefore, you're going to rely on subjectivity.
Bobby Gonzalez. Bobby Gonzalez ages by the minute over on that sideline. Tom Crean is as energetic as any coach in the conference. I've said it before in the air games I've done with you. You go to a Marquette practice, if the players worked as hard as Coach Crean does, and they work hard, but he's running miles out there. And Bobby Gonzalez, as you said, is frenetic energy on the Seton Hall sideline.
Well, right now, both of them rather calm, but wait till the ball's in play.
McNeil, and he is held. I think it'll be Hazel who gets called for the foul. Don't reach, says Bobby Gonzalez. Bobby Gonzalez, a very successful run at Manhattan before taking over at Seton Hall. Tom Crean in his 9th year at Marquette.
Yeah, Bobby Gonzalez, always known as a top-flight recruiter, and worked under some experienced guys before he got his job, obviously under Pete Gillen in Virginia. And, you know, he's emerged into a pretty good coach. You look at 7 wins in this conference, 17 overall. Yeah, he might not have been able to hold up down the stretch a little bit, 2-8 over their last 10. But this is a team that can give you problems. And the way he has them playing, they feel confident wherever they are on the floor that they can knock down the shot or find an open man.
And they're giving Marquette some problems tonight, tied at 22. Lang trying to back down to McNeil. Hazel. And the weak side rebound to James, looking to push. The lob, too high for Matthews. And a run out at the other end. And an intentional foul on Dominique James.
Well, that adds to the long, simmering feud right there. I don't know about that. It looked like he was going after the ball. He got close enough to the ball. It was the left hand that wrapped around the player, and the intent there was to keep him from falling down. I think that might have been a little too conservative of a call, and more importantly, it probably harkens back to the Nutter-James feud, if you want to call it that, and they're looking to call it closely. All right, from that standpoint, I can't blame the officials, but as an individual play, I think Dominique James was trying to keep Hazel from hitting the deck while he tried to get to the ball.
Tim Higgins made the call. James was just looking around on the court, I think looking for Higgins, trying to discuss the call. The significance of the intentional is it's 2 shots and the ball, so Hazel goes to the line, knocks them both down, and Seton Hall will keep the ball.
All right, that's what Dominique James says. All right, I accept that explanation.
Well, James Reading probably said to him, hey, I didn't make the call. Go talk to the guy who did. Tim Higgins, Reggie Greenwood, James Breeding working this game here tonight. Last time these two teams met, Marquette won by 25. It'll stay with the Pirates. Plenty of time on the shot clock as we remind you about our coverage of Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. It's quarterfinal action for the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Tomorrow night we'll have Pittsburgh and Louisville at 7, and then the winner of this game against the Fighting Irish at 9 Eastern. Louisville defeated Pittsburgh by 2 in their only regular season matchup as Seton Hall turns it over.
And Eugene Harvey talked about his turnover-prone last 6 games. 24 turnovers last 4 games, I should say. That's 6 a game. And now he seems to be on track. You know, you can't have your point guard turning it over that much.
Nice drive by McNeil. How did he find room on the baseline? and it's McNeil drawing the assignment of Lang. McNeil, their best defender, giving up height and bulk to Brian Lang.
Here's a switch right now. If I'm Seton Hall, I'm trying my best to get it back to Brian Lang with Dan Fitzgerald on it. Lang doesn't want to be in the play.
Nutter out of control. Weak side follow, not there for Okeson. Seton Hall basketball.
You always have to be cognizant when your best guy is getting locked up by one particular defender. If you get a switch or a change in assignment, you got to go to that right away to try to get your guys some daylight. Right now, McNeil back on Lang.
Okeson out, Mike Davis back in. John Garcia started the game in the middle for the Pirates. He gets the most minutes of the three big guys. Left 2 minutes into the game and hasn't been heard from since. And Davis and Okeson, to their credit, have both played very well. Nutter all day.
Well, Jamar Nutter, fourth in three-point field goal percentage in the Big East. Can't leave him that open.
Hazel gets his hands on the ball. The tie-up will keep it at this end of the floor. And the longer they stay in this game, Len, the more confident they're going to become.
You take a look right there. Nice cross-court pass by the big fella. Inside-out game once again, drawing the defenses in. And that's the strength of establishing those big guys early in the game, because now the defense has to pay attention to them, and that's opening it up for the perimeter shooter.
Trevor Mbakwe into the game, number 33 for the first time for Marquette. A big body on the inside, good rebounder. Guys come off knee surgery, just became active a couple of weeks ago. Weak side rebound, McNeil. Great elevation, and the up and under with the left hand.
And the 6'3" McNeil once again found a way to get the ball off under the basket against 6'11" Mike Davis and others. And that's the thing that makes these guys so tough, the guts of those three guards, willingness to take it inside.
McNeil with 12 of Marquette's 26 points. The Pirates leading the Golden Eagles by 1. And you mentioned it earlier, we should say it again. You talked about it. It's tough to beat a team 3 times. They beat them twice in the regular season. Seton Hall knows what's coming, and they're out looking for a little revenge here tonight.
And you know, they're playing with no fear, as I mentioned before. What the heck? I've already been beaten twice by these guys. Let's let it all hang out.
That's the style of play with which they play anyway. They're always going full speed. And Mbakwe blocked. As Okeson again with a block, but too many white jerseys around the rim. Blackledge gives Marquette the lead.
And that's a good point, Dan. A lot of the blue shirts hanging around the perimeter waiting for the outlet pass instead of coming in and helping the big guys.
11 offensive rebounds already for Marquette. Had about 3 on that possession alone. Timeout. Seton Hall got a good one going at the Garden. Back at the Garden, Dan Schulman and Len Elmore. Glad you're with us for the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Marquette in a battle with Seton Hall. The Golden Eagles leading by 1, and really only because of offensive rebounding.
And you look at the other blue shirts ringing the perimeter, ringing the lane, and not really helping out inside. Okeson all by himself. I guess Seton Hall, the guys are looking for the outlet pass so they can get in transition.
Seton Hall, the worst rebounding team statistically in the Big East. Lang again being hounded by McNeil.
Couldn't get around him on that one. McNeil doing a nice job of forcing Lang to his weak hand, his left.
Almost turned over, shot clock at 8. Hackers got it. Here come the Golden Eagles. Blackledge.
You know what?
Out.
That should have been called basket interference because someone slapped the backboard and the backboard shook.
Davis, backdoor cut. Harvey lays it in. Seton Hall takes the lead.
On that last possession, the backboard shook, and there's no way that that didn't interfere with Blackledge's attempt.
2-3 zone Pirates.
Oh, nice goal.
McNeil off to Matthews. Another block by Okeson, his 4th of the game. Harvey
got smacked in the eyes. He's trying to make that final pass. Seton Hall very fortunate to come up with it, but maybe a little over penetration by the point guard.
Now Marquette knocks it away, and it'll be their ball when we come back. 2:38 to go. No goaltend as the basket shakes. Seton Hall up a point. All right, Reese, Digger, coach, thank you very much. No zone for Bob Knight, no matter how much Digger tries.
And I thought Digger was an offensive coach anyway.
1 point lead, Seton Hall over Marquette with the winner advancing to play Digger's old school, Notre Dame, in the quarterfinals tomorrow night here with the Big East Championship. Jarrell McNeil, good defense, put the clamps on Brian Lang, and he's also scored a dozen points already tonight. A foul just before the timeout sends Lawrence Blackledge to the line.
Well, you talk about McNeil's job on Lang. He's taking an intelligent approach and forcing Lang to his weak hand, pushing him out further than he wants to be, and certainly he's getting help. But he's not allowing Lang to turn the corner when he's on the perimeter, and on post-ups, there's good ball pressure as McNeil tries to fight for position, so it's difficult for the passer to get it down inside the lane. It's a good team defense as well as individual defense.
Blackledge, a 6'8" senior out of Carbondale, Illinois, knocks down a 1 of 2. He only plays about 7 minutes per game. But in this kind of a game, the pace, the way both teams play, both coaches might go a little bit deeper into their benches.
And you see, look at Lang trying to get position, and look at the excellent position by McNeil on the front. And now when he steps outside, they're trying to get him free somehow. Usually the guy who sets the screen winds up open.
Lang's got it now.
There's the help.
The three. Look at Blackledge soar for the rebound.
And if I'm Marquette, I'll live with that shot from Brian Lang all evening.
Back with the backup point guard, again playing alongside Dominique James. Tom Crean likes taking James off the ball every now and again.
And that's when Dominique James should be looking for his offense. When he handles the ball, his job is to create for other guys, to break down the defenses, put people in a position to be successful.
Acker, the cutter is Blackledge, and he is fouled. Well, action continues for the Big East Championship, presented by Aeropostale, with a great doubleheader tomorrow afternoon. Quarterfinal action of Villanova taking on the #1 seed in the Big East, Georgetown, at noon Eastern, West Virginia, and UConn at 2 Eastern. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, and Bill Raftery bringing you that doubleheader.
Even though Blackledge missed that free throw, he's been pretty active out here. He's made a couple of defensive plays, run the floor, got to the free throw line. Averages only about 7 minutes a game.
One of 2 again. Marquette a lock to make the NCAA tournament, 22-8, 11-7 in the conference. Some nice quality wins. We're looking for a little momentum, though, coming into this tournament. Tom Crean said on day 1 on Wednesday, all you can think about is that first game. This is going to be a trap game if you think too far ahead.
And did you see that defense on Brian Lang? The closer he got to the basket, the more he was surrounded by white shirts, to the point where he was so frustrated he tried to bull his way through after a jump stop and had to kick it back outside. But again, terrific team defense by Marquette to help Jarrell McNeil on the explosive Brian Lang.
Under a minute to go in the half. Nutter got by James, missed the 3, and Blackledge another rebound.
Play your role. That's what Blackledge has done.
Matthews, nice pass inside. James lays it in.
Little fella on the baseline, wending his way to the hoop.
Last couple of times down, Marquette's done a very nice job getting inside that zone. 2-second difference between the game clock and shot clock.
And Seton Hall absolutely should be holding for the last shot. Try to get on the board to tie it or go ahead, and then get within 1 or go ahead.
Mbakwe with a block, 2-on-1. And a foul by Lang.
Again, good team defense. Blackledge closing up, and then in transition. Blackledge, we talked about him playing his role on defense, be the anchor of the D, and on offense, just to get the ball moving and go to the basket hard, and he's done just that.
Matthews knocks it down. Blackledge 4 points, 3 rebounds, and a block. Good production for him in the first half.
Yeah, and oftentimes you have that kind of play from a guy coming off the bench who's playing in limited time gets overlooked, but that's essentially what sealed and took the momentum away from Seton Hall and is now helping Marquette.
6 seconds. Nutter pushes off, and it is an offensive foul. Good call by James Breeding.
And there's an example of Wesley Matthews' versatility as well. At 6'5", going out there playing a perimeter player and just harassing him to the point where he's got to wipe him off.
A timeout taken. Marquette will try to set up for one final shot. Let's look at how the Golden Eagles are defending Brian Lang here tonight.
Well, it all begins again with Jarrell McNeil. And when he loses them, there's a switch out, and the big guy's staying down so that Lang can't get around him. And here Lang on the post up. As soon as he turns his back, that's when the double and the triple comes. And once again, trying to seal, gets the little bit of a lob. Well, at the top of the key right here, he got a little bit of a lob that time, and they surrounded him. And here he is. The closer he got to the basket, the more he was surrounded to the point where he's got to give it up. Frustrating evening for Brian Lang, but Tom Crean and company are very pleased to be a part of that frustration.
Brian Lang, as you can see, second in the Big East in scoring this year, 19 points per game, just 2 tonight. The leading scorer in the league this year was the Player of the Year, as was announced last night. Aaron Godey of Notre Dame. Aaron Godey and the Irish will take on the winner of this game in a quarterfinal tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, here on ESPN.
And that's the beauty of basketball, true team game. A guy like Brian Lang, you got to let the game come to you. You start forcing, you put your team in a greater hole.
Hayward. The first half comes to a close. A hotly contested first half. Marquette ends it on a 10-2 run to take a 34-29 lead to the break here in this first round game at the Big East Championship. So the Golden Eagles up by 5. Let's send it now back to the studio once again for the Cisco halftime report. Here's Reese Davis. And welcome back to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. We're here at Madison Square Garden in New York City for continuing coverage of the Big East Championship, presented by Aeropostale. First round game between Marquette and Seton Hall, and the Golden Eagles with a 5-point lead as we get ready for the second half here in New York. And a couple of the old reliable, so to speak, Dominic James and Jarrell McNeil really stepping up for Marquette in the first half.
Well, and they need to. Again, these two guys are the leaders of this team. And you talk about Dominic James nagging injuries all year, and all of a sudden the last several games he's been able to shake those off. And this is what he does best, creating offense for himself when he's off the ball, and certainly when he's on the ball, he gets guys involved like Jarrell McNeil, who has probably been the most consistent scorer for Marquette. Last 6 games, averaging almost 16 points, 5 rebounds, and almost 5 assists. He's been the guy that's really carried them. You look at the rest of the team, they've been involved as well, but McNeil and James are leading the field for Marquette. Now, when you talk about the other side, the big story is holding Brian Lang, second leading scorer in the Big East, to 2 points. McNeil gets the bulk of the credit, but certainly his teammates have helped him. But yet, Seton Hall still in this ballgame.
Yep. We talked about Seton Hall. John Garcia started, only played 3 minutes. We only had him at 1 foul on our sheet. He was charged with 2 fouls in the first half. Why he left as Nutter knocks down a 3, but Garcia leaving actually may have been a bit of a blessing, no disrespect to him, in the first half, because Davis and then especially Okeson came in and really gave the Pirates a boost in the first half.
Well, they certainly did, and what comes out of that is the fact that Garcia can now play a little looser, not worrying about the fact that if he goes out, who's going to replace him. He's got 2 guys that are ready.
Lazar Hayward with his second field goal of the night. This is a guy who averages almost 13 points per game.
And the blanket that's thrown on Brian Lang, Seton Hall can use that to their advantage, continue to force the double and the triple, and Lang's got to find some people, open it up.
A block by Wesley Matthews. James pushing it. Hayward. And the follow by Barrow.
Well, Marquette doing a tremendous job on the glass. Double-digit offensive rebounds. Out-rebounding Seton Hall by double digits as well.
And the lead is up to 6 for Marquette. They're the favorite in this game, the number 6 seed. Seton Hall's number 11 in the conference. The winner plays Notre Dame tomorrow night, 9 Eastern here on ESPN. Brian Lang, left-handed layup, and a tough one. And again by 2 defenders.
Well, you can't keep a good man down for long.
Well, McNeil down, but he managed to shovel it off to Matthews. We've seen all kinds of different looks defensively from Seton Hall, even different zones. A 1-2-2, and now it's a 2-3.
And it's an aggressive 2-3, looking to double on the wings and in the corner.
Shot clock under 10. James, a good look for 3. Another offensive rebound. And it's Marquette ball. Time for us to check out the first half stats tonight, presented by Guinness. Neither team shot very well, and again, the offensive rebounds, as Len just said, offensive rebounds, second chance points, a huge key in this game.
Well, Marquette only +1 in rebound margin on the season, but they've been getting better position than Seton Hall on that offensive glass. Seton Hall persistent in that zone, leaving some open areas from which you can offensive rebound.
Hayward long on a 3, another offensive rebound. Barrow again. 14 offensive rebounds tonight for Marquette.
And if you're playing a zone, you better pick an area and block out the man in that area instead of just turning and watching the ball.
A run out for Lang. Seton Hall back within 2.
Give Lang some credit. He's finding opportunities to try to get a couple of easy baskets.
Nice penetration by McNeil, and he draws the foul.
You know, when you're not having success in the half court, you got to find ways to get down and get some easy baskets, and Brian Lang just leaks out behind the defense, and that's going to go an awful long way for him to regain his confidence.
Lang, a senior from the Bronx, played at St. Raymond's. So many players, of course, in the Big East Conference. New York, or the New York City area, is home. MSG is a place, as kids, they dreamed of playing at. A lot of them now play when they play St. John's or play in the Big East tournament. This is, I mean, you grew up in New York. What does it mean for Brian Lang and kids from around this area to come play at Madison Square Garden?
Well, you want to make your pilgrimage here. This is Holy Land in basketball. You grow up watching the NBA. You watch terrific college basketball being played here, and you always dream about being on this floor. Hearing that buzzer bring you in, sometimes take you out.
Digger talks often about college doubleheaders that he used to be a part of back in the day here. And how they would absolutely pack the place. Hayward. Hayward is heating up here in the second half. Bobby Gonzalez senses it and calls a timeout. We'll step aside here in the Garden. Marquette trying to hold off the Pirates. They've got a 5-point lead.
The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship, March 22nd through April 8th.
Challenge doesn't build character. It reveals it. Through the market's ups and downs, Oppenheimer Funds has proven we have what it takes to keep moving forward. Just one reason why Barron's has recognized Oppenheimer Funds for having some of the top portfolio managers in the business. Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest.
Carefully consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Call your advisor for a prospectus with this and other fund information. Read it carefully before investing.
Renew your skin with the Schick Quattro Titanium Trimmer. 4 blades with titanium stay sharp to reduce irritation. An edging blade adds precision, and a built-in trimmer makes it easy to maintain your look. Schick Quattro Titanium Trimmer. Free your skin.
Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here.
This is my hotel.
My hotel.
At My Best Western, I know what business travelers need.
That's why we offer our free Gold Crown Club International card.
Earn points towards free nights, air miles, car rentals, and more.
At My Best Western, you're not just a guest, you're my guest.
Best Western. Ownership shows.
Stay twice through April 6th and earn twice the rewards. AAA members earn 3 times. Twice is nice. 3 times is nicer. Visit bestwestern.com.
Tonight's game between the Pirates and the Golden Eagles is also available in high definition on ESPN HD, brought to you by Olivia. Tonight's Subway Fresh Fact is this is the 26th season in a row the Big East tournament has been played here at Madison Square Garden. That is the longest running conference tournament in a single location in college basketball history. And as Commissioner Mike Tranghese said in sort of his State of the Union address yesterday, why would they go anywhere else? And you can't argue the point. What is your best memory, either as a spectator or a participant of Madison Square Garden?
Oh, I've got one for each category. I mean, as a spectator, to be able to come here and sneak in with my GO card, pay 50 cents and sit up in the rafters and watch New York Knicks during that magical 69-70 season when they won the championship. I didn't see the championship game except on television, but to watch them and the way they played, unselfish, distributing the ball the way the game's supposed to be played.
Another off to Davis, who misses the jumper. And as a player?
Well, as a high school player, I played boys high here when I was at Powell Memorial. We were the #1 team in the country, and boys had a tremendous basketball tradition. Of course, they went out about 14-1 and wound up beating them by 20, but that's a whole other story.
And Maryland must have played here.
Yeah, we played. We come up and play Fordham, and then we won the NIT in 1972. That was a tremendous memory and accomplishment for a young team. And then as a professional, I had some good moments and not so good moments.
Garcia rips down the rebound, clears a little territory with his elbows to make sure none of those pesky Golden Eagles try to take it away from him.
Look at the hard hedge by Barrow. He got called for at that time.
Timeout on the floor, second half here at historic Madison Square Garden. Marquette by 5. 3 games already complete here at the Garden today of the Big East Championship. Scotty Reynolds leading Villanova. Corey Stokes had 18 points. Reynolds 22. Nova over Syracuse 82-63 earlier today. Joe Alexander, plain and simple, one of the hottest players in the country. 22 points for him today. West Virginia over Providence 58-53. 30 points for Deontay Vaughn of Cincinnati. But as much as he did, it wasn't enough. Sam Young, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 blocks, hit 70. Cincinnati, 64. So Villanova, West Virginia, and Pittsburgh have advanced to the quarterfinals, which will be played tomorrow afternoon and evening. The winner of this game, Marquette and Seton Hall, will take on Notre Dame in the 4th and final quarterfinal tomorrow. The top 4 teams getting byes: Georgetown, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Connecticut.
Marquette trying to create some distance between them and Seton Hall. Seton Hall won't go away, primarily because they've acted with a lot of patience. They've been able to go inside out, knock down some shots just like that. Bobby Gonzalez is ready for it. And defensively, done a much better job at making it difficult for Marquette to get easy. Marquette's have to work for an awful lot of points.
Jamar Nutter's 3rd 3 of the game. Seton Hall back within 2. We're at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. First round action from the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Seton Hall and Marquette. Marquette coming in off a loss against Syracuse. They're the number 6 seed, trying to improve their seeding for the NCAA tournament as Hayward lays it in. And let's not forget, I mean, the biggest picture obviously involves the NCAA's. But they desperately would love to have success here in New York in the Big East Conference Championship. You and I have done too many of these games this week to understand that teams are not looking past this week to the NCAA's. This week matters to them as well.
Oh, it certainly does. Again, from a pride standpoint, you didn't play that rough and tumble Big East schedule not to come away with something to brag about.
Another offensive rebound, and if Seton Hall loses this game, that will be the story of the night. Coming up next here on ESPN after this game, Neil Everett and Scott Van Pelt have Sports Center for you. They'll look at the automatic bids that were clinched today. Coach Knight is in the studio talking about the big dance and a brawl, a more bad blood between the Yankees and the Rays down in Florida.
Oh, they're tired of spring training.
Hey.
Well, actually,
they got 3 weeks
Tampa
to go.
Bay will stay there, but the Yankees want to get up. Get a little frustrated.
Barrow with 6 offensive rebounds tonight. And Marquette as a team, Marquette's got 16 offensive rebounds. Seton Hall 14 defensive, meaning when Marquette misses a shot, they have gotten more than 50% of the rebounds at that end of the floor.
Well, you know, when you play zone, you're more susceptible to offensive rebounding, but you still have to find a way into covering your area and staying between the man in your area and the basket, and Seton Hall just not doing a good enough job there.
Eugene Harvey, the 6-foot sophomore out of Brooklyn, with as tough a driving layup as you can make.
Well, Eugene Harvey's a point guard who can score. He's 5th in the conference in assists, but there are often times when he needs to be able to be a threat. And here, he just takes all the contact given to him, still able to finish.
Number 2 on Barrow. Harvey putting together a nice night. Marquette will make a little run. Seton Hall will come back at him again. They're back within 3 with a ton of time left in this game.
3-quarter, 2-2-1 pressure.
Hayward the miss. The Pirates finally come down with a rebound only because McNeil got knocked down in a reach-in foul on Dominique James.
Well, Dominique James trying to stop the ball in transition, which is what he's supposed to do. But Harvey just continued to press the issue. James was forced to body up on him, and those are the aggressive moves that Seton Hall needs to continue to make. Kind of neutralize that offensive rebounding advantage that Marquette has and try and get him a little bit of foul trouble. Seton Hall, you're down 3, stay aggressive.
Harvey trying to shake James. Hazel is open. Okeson keeps it alive and a fresh 35 for the Pirates.
You better keep it alive. You had a little 5'8" Maurice Acker blocking him out.
And now they got a mismatch. Okeson defended by James. Now Marquette gets the switch.
And look at Lang, double team. This is what I'm talking about. Take the double team, move the ball. His teammates should be crisper at moving the ball around because you catch Marquette in rotation after doubling Lang. Use him as a decoy, create opportunities for others.
Tough turnaround by Lang. Okeson with a rebound. Man, is he giving them some big minutes off the bench.
Terrific. And again, playing your role, understanding who you are and your importance to the team.
Had 4 blocks in the first half. Now he sets the screen that frees up Harvey, who misses the layup. Numbers for Marquette. McNeil.
So quick.
Yes.
So quick in transition.
Second team All-Big East, Jarrell McNeil was this season, just announced a couple of days ago, along with 2 of his teammates, Dominique James and Lazar Hayward. The Big East, because of the number of teams in the league, their first team has 11 players on it. Their second team has 10. That's just the way they've done it in the last few years. Hayward right in the middle of that zone, and he's held.
Well, missed opportunity. Eugene Harvey, nice drive to the basket, just can't get the roll, but look at the rebound right here and the kick out. Just 2 passes. James brings it down and gets it to McNeil going to the basket. It's one of those things that Marquette, knowing that they're undersized, they play 3 guards on a significant amount of minutes, they've got to be able to utilize that quickness. They've been more effective than not.
Number 3 on Lang. Fitzgerald and Blackledge back into the game for Marquette. Blackledge in particular really gave Marquette some good minutes off the bench in the first half. Back to James and McNeil in the backcourt. A driving James. And it's going to be Blackledge over the top. You gotta love the effort, though.
Exactly. I was going to say, Blackledge very active. Got called out on the screen to James. James didn't need it, drove baseline, and Blackledge, instead of standing there watching, made his presence felt, albeit a foul.
David Kubian now in for James. 5-point lead to Marquette. Just over 12 minutes to go here in the second half in New York City.
Right now, Lang being guarded by Maurice Acker at 5'8", generously. Teammates can't get him the ball because of the ball pressure. Now here's the double team.
Larry Davis with a drive, and the off-balance leaner not there. It will stay with Seton Hall. As we go to a timeout, having fun here in the big city, the Golden Eagles up 5 on the Pirates. And Reese, let's look at those 14 teams who are already assured of a spot in the big dance. Cornell was the first one in, winning the Ivy. Drake, an outstanding season, winning the regular season and tournament championship in the Missouri Valley Conference. Of course, George Mason. You harken back to the Final Four run a couple of years ago.
Who's this year's George Mason? George Mason.
I know you like Davidson.
Yeah, look, Davidson played a very tough schedule. They were very competitive against a lot of good teams. You know, they're looking for their one shining moment, I guess, if you want, to beat somebody that's seated ahead of them, and they're capable with Stephen Curry.
Tournament Selection Committee has gathered in Indianapolis, and they are starting to deliberate, starting to try to agree on at-large teams that the committee feels has already done enough to guarantee themselves a spot in the tournament.
So that Davis rebounds over Maurice Acker. Seton Hall making more of an effort to crash the offensive glass.
Lang backing down his man at Kubion on him, and Reggie Greenwood's got a foul call.
And it's amazing, Jarrell McNeil gets help. Kubion doesn't. Look at that nice turn, post up and seal, using his upper body strength. Nobody comes over to help until it's too late. Kubion forced to battle the bigger, stronger Brian Lang by himself.
On the inbounds play, a dunk for Hazel. The Pirates within 3. Their bench is up. Their fans are up. The underdog is making a game of it here in the Garden. Kubion for 3. Another offensive rebound. And a foul. And again, Marquette's dominance on the offensive glass has just been huge.
Well, again, you should never, on inbound passing, you should never be able to allow a guy like this right here to be able to just waltz to the basket. And he just kind of lulls the defender to sleep. Uses a high screen, doesn't even rub him off. He just beats him to the ball. This is the kind of stuff you go over in pregame and shoot-arounds. And you've got to be able to stymie the inbounds, particularly underneath the basket. Make them earn it.
Blackledge to the line for the Golden Eagles. 4 Marquette players are waiting to check in after this free throw. Here comes Mbakwe, James, Matthews, and Hayward.
Well, Tom Crean has really got some fresh troops out there right now. They're looking to try to turn up the heat.
Marquette's got 6 players on the court, and now Tom Crean hollers at Wesley Matthews to get out.
Well, here's where Marquette has exploited its depth, or at least they're trying to.
Just an unbelievable number of offensive rebounds for Marquette.
And that was just poor block out. There was no zone involved. Off the free throw, it's just man-to-man. Got to put a body on someone. It's the little things like that that pile up, as we talked about the offensive rebounds, that come back to haunt you with Seton Hall.
They've got 19, and overall they're out-rebounding Seton Hall 42 to 27, 43 to 27, 44 to 27. The beat goes on.
I don't know what they're talking about in that huddle, but I hope they're talking about will, because that's what rebounding is all about. You got to have the will to mix it up. First of all, take the contact, create the contact. And Seton Hall just standing around watching, and it's Marquette that's attacking.
Seton Hall is fortunate Marquette has not capitalized on more of their opportunities, and that they're missing all these free throws.
Marquette, a 71% free throw shooting team.
Every time Seton Hall doesn't get a defensive rebound, Bobby Gonzalez changes his big guy. Here comes Davis, there goes Garcia. Here comes Okus, and there goes Davis.
Trying to keep those fresh legs. This three-headed center has served them well thus far, keeping them in the ballgame.
Mbakwe banks in a free throw. Marquette by 4 as we pass the midway point of the second half. As we mentioned earlier, the foul there on Mbakwe. Seton Hall, statistically the worst rebounding team in the Big East. But this is ridiculous. 21 offensive rebounds for Marquette.
And you see Kubion giving Mbakwe some lessons on how to step out and hedge. Tell him, I just need you to slow him down and flatten him out.
Bakwi underwent knee surgery preseason, gave up his red shirt in February to come play the rest of the year. Gave up what would have been a medical red shirt to come play the rest of the year.
Well, obviously it's the young man's choice, and hopefully it was an informed choice, but when he's wearing that brace out there, I know they're made out of lighter alloys and plastics and stuff, but I feel if you have to wear that thing out there after an injury, that if you take the rest of the year off and build your leg up and get it stronger, you don't have to wear it the following year.
Eugene Harvey shaken up. Bobby Gonzalez over on the baseline speaking with James Breeding, the official.
Hard drive to the basket. Eugene Harvey trying to take advantage of a few lanes that are getting there, and he just gets knocked into stanchion hole in the backboard.
So Harvey, who was to have shot the free throws, leaves, and Bobby Gonzalez summons Jamar Nutter off the bench to shoot the free throws in his place.
It looks like Eugene Harvey just suffered a cramp as he came down off of that layup attempt. There he is trying to stretch it out right now, immediately going to the fluids.
And Nutter to the line. Nutter the high score in the game for Seton Hall with 11. McNeil back in for Kubiak. One of two for Nutter. Seton Hall 5 of 9 from the line. And Marquette just 12 of 23. And McNeil is fouled before the shot.
Missing 11 free throws, and you're in a three-point ball game if you're Marquette. I mean, that's got to make you sick to your stomach, particularly when you shoot 71% as a team on the year.
Foul on Mike Davis, his fourth.
And we mentioned it at the beginning of the telecast. It's the third time these two teams have met. Marquette won the first two, and it is so difficult to beat a team that 3 times in one season. You know, the coaching staff at Seton Hall able to sit down and break down film. Players are able to build their confidence, saying the next time I get these guys, I'll do something against them.
Hayward misses it. And Lang with a rebound. First time in a long time it seems that Marquette has not had a second opportunity. Lang steps into the three. Rebound and Bakwi. McNeil to Hayward. And he's fouled. There's some battles around the rim here tonight. Okeson the foul. Then that's 4 on Okeson. He replaced Davis, who's got 4. Garcia, the other big guy's got 3. They may need all 15 fouls tonight.
Well, it's a 3-headed center position. And Bobby Gonzalez trying to squeeze every bit he can out of the 3 guys. Trying to patrol that lane, trying to keep Marquette off the offensive glass. The wheels are turning right now. What do we do in the middle?
And a couple of makes for Hayward. Behind the back goes Harvey. And he is fouled by Bakwi. Both teams already over the limit with better than 9 minutes to go in the half.
Remember we said earlier it was a 3-point game. Seton Hall could not relax. They had to continue to be aggressive and assertive. Well, they're heeding the advice right here. Continually going to the basket, forcing the back line of Marquette to step up.
You saw Eugene Harvey, already 7 assists on the night. He was 5th in the league in assists during the season, but did not play as well down the stretch as he did earlier in the year. And boy, good point guard play can take you a long way, and a struggling point guard can really hurt you. He pumps his fist as he makes them both, and the Hall back within 3.
Still applying that pressure, this time pretty much full court. When we talk about being assertive, Marquette can't allow that zone to take them out of what they like to do, and that is push the ball up the floor, utilize their quickness.
McNeil sandwiched and fouled. Lang, I believe. Or is it?
Just again, quick move to the baseline. The help comes over quickly enough. And contact was made, but I'm not so sure.
And Lennox Okeson on the help, and that's 5 on Augustin Okeson.
I'm not so sure. That might have been a no call since it was on the pass, and it was just both guys meeting at the same spot.
Don't forget, tomorrow ESPN's coverage of college basketball's championship week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, continues. Quarterfinal action from the Big East Championship, presented by Aeropostale. Sean J. and Bill will have Villanova and Georgetown at noon, then West Virginia and Connecticut at 2. Villanova over Syracuse today, West Virginia over Providence. That's the top half of the draw tomorrow night at 7 Eastern. Louisville into Pittsburgh, and Notre Dame against the winner of this one. So Okeson is fouled out. Garcia is back in. He's got 4. The other big guy, Davis, has 4.
Well, when a coach appreciates your efforts, and that's talking about playing your role and giving it your all. And Okeson, very sparsely used, about 10 minutes a game, played his role to the best of his ability, and the coach appreciates it.
McNeil makes them both. Marquette by 5. In the post, Lang. McNeil the defender. Davis penetrates the feed to Garcia. Great half-court offense there by the Pirates.
Once again, Lang, it all begins with Lang receiving and the defense focused on him. Then the ball reverses, driving lane, forces the defense to adjust, and then you find your big man on the baseline. And that's what I mean by using Ryan Lang as the decoy to get the defense out of position. Then quick ball movement will get you some opportunities.
Hayward the rebound off the missed free throw.
You know, now Marquette has a dilemma. Do we continue to double Lang since we're getting other guys and it's down the stretch? Other guys are starting to heat up for Seton Hall, or we continue with the double on Lang and take our chances?
Both coaches driving their players hard. Seton Hall coming in off a home loss, a senior day loss to Rutgers. Marquette lost at Syracuse over the weekend. McNeil from the corner. Rebound Davis.
Three-point game, you can probably get a better shot than that, even though there's about 7.5 minutes left, 7:40 left.
Harvey one-on-one with James. Splits the double team and is fouled. Harvey's had a good game here tonight. We got a good game. The coaches trying to get every ounce they can out of their players here tonight. Marquette leading by 3. Well, one of the most discussed games of the college basketball season, Reese. The shot over, was it? The corner of the backboard as UCLA beat Cal. Here Marquette leading Seton Hall by 3. What do you think the best league in the country has been this year?
Well, when you talk about the strongest conference, you know, I know people are going to say you played in the ACC, you're partial, but I think the ACC has been, and primarily because of many of their bottom teams. I mean, you look at the Pac-10 and you got Oregon State. Okay, that's 18 games that they've lost. That's 2 wins for everybody. So that gives you a boost right there. But, you know, there's not a whole lot of difference between the two of them with regard to strength, terrific players, terrific coaches, quality teams in the rankings, number of teams in the rankings throughout. But I would say that the most competitive league where, you know, a number of the bottom teams have the capability of beating the top teams would be the Big East.
As what Joe Lenardi, ESPN's bracketologist, thinks right now, he's got the Big East with 7, the Big 12 and the Pac-10 each with 6. Keep in mind, for the Pac-10, that would be 6 out of 10. For the Big East, that would be 7 out of 16. And you really have to look at it, I think, on the basis of a percentage more than the raw number. But Certainly Villanova's got a chance to become the 8th team to make the tournament after a win over Syracuse today, and perhaps based on what they do against Georgetown tomorrow. How about James posting? Acker, Hayward, Barrow keeps it alive.
And again, Barrow just wanted it more. I talked about will, and rebounding is primarily will once you get yourself in position.
James is fouled, and again, it's all set up. This trip to the line set up yet again by an offensive rebound.
And when you take a look, the shot goes up. Seton Hall guys are standing straight up, just looking at the ball instead of at least putting a body on someone or creating room for themselves, using their shoulders and their hips and getting in good rebound position. You can't rebound standing straight up in the air.
John Garcia has just fouled out. He becomes the second big guy to foul out for Seton Hall. Augustin Okeson has already gone, and Mike Davis, who will be coming in, has 4 fouls. And again, the offensive rebounding, the single biggest story in this game. Marquette has 23 offensive rebounds. Seton Hall has only 19 defensive rebounds, meaning Marquette's putting a shot up, they miss, and they're getting better than 50% of the rebounds, which is absurd at the offensive end.
Well, and when you take a look at that number and put it into perspective of this 1-point game, if you told Bobby Gonzalez you're going to get out rebounded by that number and you're only down 1, I guarantee you he would take it.
The question becomes if and when Davis fouls out, then what does Bobby Gonzalez do? They can't get any rebounds with their big guys in there. They're 1 foul away from losing their 3rd big guy.
Well, sometimes there's a tendency for the big guys in particular to think all they have to do is turn and attack the rim and they'll get the rebound. But with the activity and the quickness of Marquette's smaller but more athletic front line, that hasn't proven to be the case. Now, if Seton Hall goes smaller, maybe those guys who match up with that smaller front line of Marquette will have the presence of mind to block out, knowing that they don't have that decided height advantage.
And as much as the offensive rebounding is helping Marquette, the free throws are hurting. Seton Hall looking for the lead.
Close to a turnover.
Rebound, James off the miss by Nutter. McNeil, beautiful drive.
Well, we told you, Jarrell McNeil has really taken over the Marquette offense and really been the leader in the last 7 games. Came in here averaging almost 16 points, 5 rebounds and 5 assists over the last 6.
Harvey trying to answer. High off the glass and in. Again, it's a 1-point game here in the Garden. The loser is out. The winner out of the quarters against the Irish tomorrow. In the 2-3 zone right now, Lang is in the middle as Acker knocks down the 3.
And how about the little nuance? McNeil gets it, maybe gets a little bit of a head fake in one dribble, draws the defender away from Acker, and then he finds Acker outside.
First field goal in better than 7 minutes for the Golden Eagles, and it's a big one. Reaching in, Acker commits the foul.
Take a look at Jarrell McNeil creating for himself with a nice little spin move. And then Eugene Harvey, another guy who's able to snake his way to the basket. Nothing like a point guard who can score. And then just a little nuance of McNeil to draw the defender away from Acker and then find Acker. Pretty basketball.
Except for the free throw shooting. Otherwise, it's been a lot of fun. The Pirates are 9 of 15, 60%. Marquette is 16 of 29, 55%. Some pressure.
And this time, I think it's for real. He was token at one time. This time, Seton Hall looking to try to create turnover.
Sports Center after us tonight here on ESPN. McNeil, a beautiful feed inside for Hayward. Jarrell McNeil's been the best player on the floor here tonight.
And Marquette's needed every effort from Jarrell McNeil.
Harvey can't shake Matthews.
The mismatch Lang. Lang has Acker on him, and look at Acker trying to get Lang out of that lane. Full-blown push doesn't get called for.
Matthews just made a great play, getting the rebound and saving it before he fell out of bounds. Knocked away by Harvey. Marquette ball. Let's go back to McNeil on that great feed inside to Hayward.
Well, Jarrell McNeil, obviously a threat, draws the defender, and everybody paying attention to him. And he just finds Hayward right in the middle of the paint, wide open in front of the rim.
Look at those numbers for Jarrell McNeil, helping Marquette to a 5-point lead. 4:23 to go as Seton Hall takes a timeout. Black Magic tells the story of the injustice which characterized the civil rights movement in America, as told through the lives of basketball players and coaches who attended historically black colleges and universities. Black Magic presented by Russell and State Farm on ESPN Sunday at 9 Eastern, and then again another 2-hour edition of Black Magic Monday night at 9 Eastern as well.
And some terrific stories there. The one that struck me, and I won't give it away, but you know, the great coach John McClendon arranged a secret game in the violently segregated South back in the 40s between his team at a college which is now North Carolina Central and the Duke basketball team. And it was amazing that those two groups could get together, but it was basketball around which, you know, they rallied.
Look for Black Magic Sunday night and Monday night, each night 9 Eastern on ESPN. Just heating up into championship week here on a Wednesday. A number of the other big conferences will get going tomorrow. The Big East championship games Saturday night. A number of the other major conferences finish up on Sunday. One of the best weeks of the year. Another new look in that zone.
And you're talking about extending themselves, arms out, trying to cut off the passing lane. It almost looks like Seton Hall has 6 guys out there.
Matthews for 3. And guess what? An offensive rebound. And Hayward is fouled over and over and over again. This has been the theme of the night for Seton Hall. The reality is they don't start getting the boards, they're going home. All right, Reese, well, the major situation here for Bobby Gonzalez, that last foul before the break was on Mike Davis. And now all 3 big guys, Okeson, Davis, and Garcia, have all fouled out. And Brandon Walters, a 6'9", 225-pound freshman from Brooklyn, who has played 48 minutes this season, and most of it early in the season, has come in for the first time tonight. A guy that Bobby Gonzalez, if he were truthful, Len probably would never have thought he would need in this game.
Well, you come in this game by default, but it just proves the point of always maintaining a state of readiness. Walters provides them with some size at 6'9". Let's see if he'll try and block out.
Got a hand on it. Should be Marquette ball. Oh, wow. That sure looked like Walters pushed it out of bounds. If we're not missing anybody, they've only got 6 players left right now.
It's hard to tell on that one. Both guys going after it.
I believe that Seton Hall's only got 9 available players, and 3 of them have fouled out. Hayward, a good show on Harvey. 3.5 to go. Off Walters' hand, and he inadvertently tips it back out to Harvey.
Harvey didn't want to take that shot, but obviously that was the only thing available with the clock running down.
That's what Harvey wants to do, but he has it taken away. I think James got a hand on it.
Again, that's what Marquette does. Good hand-eye coordination on guys driving to the basket. They get it before you get the ball over your shoulders. If they don't strip steal it, they certainly knock it loose, and you wind up fumbling.
Marquette's gone small with Acker, James, McNeil, Matthews, and then 1 front court player in Lazar Hayward. Seton Hall staying in the zone, 2-3. Shot clock at 2. Acker forces it up and makes it! And Bobby Gonzalez is beside himself that shot went in.
It all began with Maurice Acker doing what point guards are supposed to do. Penetrate the shot clock's running down, create opportunities for yourselves or others.
Tim Higgins is going to check to see if it was a 2 or a 3.
The shot clock running down. I don't know, hard to tell, but it looked as though he probably straddled that line, or at least foot on the blue line.
Yeah, left foot was inside the line.
I think Maurice said, I'll take it.
He has made 2 huge buckets for them tonight. Made a 3 earlier this half. And that desperation deuce at the end of the shot clock to extend the lead to 8. Seton Hall was within 1 or 2 for a long time. Just couldn't quite get over the hump. And there's a foul on Matthews. 2 shots the rest of the way for both teams.
Matthews a little bit bigger now, more the size of Brian Lang, and look him eye to eye. Taking McNeil off him, at least for that play. Just a different look for Brian Lang, trying to slow him down. Hopefully he won't get in gear for the last 2 minutes and 28 seconds.
Lang 19 points per game, just 6 points tonight.
And you can see it's playing with his head. I mean, he's an 81% free throw shooter, gets to the line in a need situation and can't knock him down.
Walters. And Hayward the rebound. That would have been the best rebound all night by a guy in a blue uniform. Walters getting emergency playing time. But time starting to run out on the Pirates. Marquette will run a weave to use a little clock. McNeil. Matthews. Rebound Seton Hall. Stolen away by James. What a great play.
He was laying in the weeds for that one.
Matthews. James, I think, wanted to work the clock a little bit when Matthews took the open shot.
Yeah, the shot was much too quick. Only a few possessions left for Seton Hall, and you want to shorten the game and take those possessions away.
James again fouled by Davis. 2 enormous defensive plays by Dominique James.
Well, again, Dominique James is a veteran, and after Seton Hall gets the rebound, well, this is that first steal and bring him down the floor. And then on the other rebound, again, he's just waiting there, kind of ducking, trying to hide.
And James to the line for 2. Just 1 of 4 from the line tonight. Ezell in for Davis. Ezell the better offensive player, good long-range shooter. Then Seton Hall down to 6 players with 3 having fouled out. Marquette defeated Seton Hall twice during the regular season. One was close, one was a blowout. This one close most of the night, out of bounds for the Pirates. And Seton Hall down to 1:26. If they lose, they're out of this tournament, and they will hope for a possible NIT bid. Timeout, Marquette. Well, then, as somebody who grabbed more than his fair share of offensive rebounds in your time, you've got to appreciate the effort by the Golden Eagles tonight.
Absolutely, and it really is about staying in motion, utilizing quickness, and getting position. You know, in transition, as guys are attacking the basket and defenders start to collapse around the shooter, you got to find that position where you can get to the errant shot. And each time they miss the shot, somebody on the weak side glass or somebody underneath the basket getting a hand on it. And really, that is essentially neutralized the poor free throw shooting, getting extra opportunities for Marquette.
They actually could have done more with their opportunities in terms of second chance points. They missed some follows, missed some free throws. 13-2 the second chance points. Still, when you look at the difference in the score and the difference in that stat, that pretty much sums it up. Free throw shooting has been a big problem for Marquette tonight, but rebounding the biggest reason why they are leading and why they appear to be on their way to a quarterfinal matchup tomorrow night with Notre Dame, a team they split with during the season. Each team winning at home. Marquette winning easily. The Irish winning a close one in South Bend. Louisville will take on Pittsburgh. That's the night session. The day session, Georgetown, Villanova, Connecticut, West Virginia. By the way, Len, Jamie Dixon in his post-game comments after Pitt's win over Cincinnati said right now, with Fields back and able to practice the last week, Coach Dixon feels Pittsburgh's playing as well as they have all season, and they will need to play as well as they have all season because Louisville is awfully good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Louisville has gotten everybody back in there at about as full strength as they can be, and defensively, they're disrupting. They're using David Padgett as a conduit for an offense, and as smart as he is, he's finding guys. But Pittsburgh, as Jamie said, we talked about at the beginning of that game, their defense needed to be more consistent, and he feels they're getting a lot better.
James with his third steal in the last minute. McNeil lays it in.
Seton Hall, valiant effort. Gave Marquette pretty much all they can handle, but right now, particularly through attrition, where 3 centers have already gone down to fouls, Marquette now just manhandling them.
An 8-0 run right now for the Golden Eagles, really keyed by the defense of Dominique James. And a foul on Hayward. Foul will send Hayward to the line. We're under a minute to go.
And Dominique James, again, one of those guys that does a nice job of getting his hands on the ball. Marquette playing for deflections. They find a way to deflect the ball, and then they go and they get possession. And 2 times Dominique James has figured prominently.
Now when you look ahead to tomorrow, and you did just a little bit a while ago, any of the 4 matchups in particular stand out to you as intriguing? I mean, all 4 of them should be great.
Well, I think the rubber match between Marquette and Notre Dame should be of special note simply because, again, when Marquette beat Notre Dame, they turned Notre Dame over 24 times. I think they shot tremendously from beyond the arc. And then when Notre Dame won, it was Notre Dame most of the game, and Marquette decides to make a comeback. They started to turn Notre Dame over, but Notre Dame holds on at home for that tremendous winning streak.
James again.
But it'll be terrific guard play. McElwani and Jackson for Notre Dame, and the 3 guards for Marquette.
It's been a very good Wednesday here with the Big East Championship, and it should be an even better Thursday. Down to the final 8, into the quarterfinals. Marquette closes the game with a big run. Seton Hall does not score in the last 5 minutes of the game, and Marquette beats the Hall 67-54. As Tom Green and Bobby Gonzalez shake hands in the midcourt, it'll be Marquette and Notre Dame in quarterfinals tomorrow night here on ESPN. The final, the Golden Eagles 67 and the Pirates 54. Sports Center is next here on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Len Elmore and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying so long from New York, and thanks for watching.